Mail. I got mail. I got mail.
I'm recording also.
Did you queue up the song? Because that's part of
I did actually.
Recording is to cue the song and have it near when you start recording. That's
now I'm hovering over the play, waiting for you to finish your sentence.
Oh goodness.
Welcome to Everyone Racers,
a show designed for the world of low-dollar racing
and oddball car culture.
It doesn't matter what kind of Lemon Champ or Lucky Track Dog league you run.
SCCA or NASA.
We don't discriminate.
As long as you drive it hard, you built it yourself.
Join us each week for tech discussions,
tips, tricks, as well as news and notes
from the world of amateur endurance racing.
And whether it's on the spot,
hella sweet or lucky enough. Chrissy.
And I give you just the tip.
We're sure you'll giggle a little
and learn even less.
Everyone report to the paddock.
This is Chris.
This is Chrissy.
I'm Jeff.
And I'm Mental.
And we are Everyone Racers. Is it me? I don't even know. It's is. Green. Look at that. I should look ahead. Welcome to a Pac Man episode. It is episode 257. A Pac Man level 250. I did not know this. Pac Man level 251 kill scene episode.
57, but yeah, okay.
Was that what I said? 257? Sorry.
You said one. Doesn't matter.
I'll put on my old man glasses.
Uh-huh.
Hey.
A rough start here, dude.
You know, if you're not playing a rad video game, then check out our E1R bingo card. Link in the show notes. And now we get to the best part of the day. I love how when we have Eric on, we don't even say, "Hey, Eric, you ready?" We just go.
Yeah, that's kind of what happened.
That's kind of what happens. That's all right.
Yeah.
Let's start where we always start. Chris, what you working on?
Gave the Mazda a post-race once-over. So that includes clean it up a little bit so it's not disgusting to touch, especially as many Mazda Valdez incidents that we've had lately. So that was better. I've replaced the right rear caliper. That was the source of the rotational noise in the right rear, as that was not letting up. Did a compression test, which was fine. Actually, we talked about that last week, didn't we? Talk about the compression test. I think so. Anyway. Yeah, cleaned out the plug wells, got the new plugs back in. It's ready now for a test drive to see if I have solved said problems. Also gave Snowflake an oil change and a pre-inspection once over. I still hate doing oil changes on GMT 800 trucks because it just splashes on you no matter what you do when you change the filter. There is no way around it. Also took the Honda lawnmower we got from the Cape tonight and cleaned the carburetor and sharpened the blades. So that's ready to use.
So. You have a Honda lawnmower at the Cape?
Wow. It was free.
Are you surprised that he has a lawnmower? Because the Honda thing shouldn't shock you at all.
It was also free. So
no, I'm surprised because usually the lawnmower at the vacation house is whatever crap you can get off the side of the road somewhere or something.
Yeah, but we've all been tight now for Hondas. Yeah, we've all been tight now for 20 years. We know that Chris is 7 layers into Hondas. It's Hondas all the way down.
I bet he doesn't have a Honda at his house.
We do now because I just got the one from the Cape House. They're not used it. They haven't used it in 10 years. That's why we brought it home. It's better than the lousy Craftsman that we had that I bought on clearance in 2004.
That's what I expected.
Mm-hmm.
Oh boy. Chrissy, you're not at home.
I am not at home. No. And you missed the whole weekend. We were people of leisure. We went on vacation, went to a beach, we didn't actually sit on the beach, but we looked at the ocean and had a really nice time with a friend. So that was good. And then I was magically whisked away to Milwaukee. So I am in Milwaukee for just another day. I was here, came down Tuesday morning, and I'm here for work, which is a little different than my old work when I used to just travel by myself and go and try to fix, training centers and work all by myself and never saw anybody and ate a whole lot in my hotel rooms. Now I have people that I'm here with, and we're doing audits on another plant that I'd like
safety audits. Nothing is more exciting than safety
audits.
It's
been really enlightening because I have a hot mess at my place, and so I'm able to see what they do at other places. So it's been a lot of talk, a lot of what do you do, how do I do this better? So it's been good.
At least it's really like complain. Social. Before it was like her by herself in a minivan, building an indoor
training center as much as you possibly could do, building a building by yourself. And at least this is walking around a plant and talking to people and seeing what other people don't see. So it's not so bad. I'm only here for a couple of days. Yep.
My Midwestern geography is not really good, but I'm going to say from East Coast to West Coast, it is me in Jersey, Chris in Pennsylvania, then Eric, then you. Or I'm
an hour north of Chicago because
I know, but like, is it east or west?
Same.
It's like north.
Are they
south.
really? Are they really? Close. Okay.
Yeah.
That's what I was trying to figure out. Where exactly is Milwaukee?
Are you in downtown Milwaukee or are you off?
I'm in Franklin, so I am
slightly southwest of the
southwest.
We're probably about the same.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's straight north, and that's why the flight options weren't great from Philly to Milwaukee. So I did Chicago.
That's what I was trying to figure out in my brain. Like I see Milwaukee on my map in my brain and I'm like, that's really kind of close to Chicago. But
that's 2 hours.
Yeah.
Right. It's an hour straight. Straight
from O'Hare
from
to
where
Franklin.
From where I live, it's 2 hours to downtown Milwaukee.
Got it. Yeah. Yep. So we can have a quick round of guess the rental just because I have one.
Yay. Okay. Pencil and I are excited.
And yes, and because this time you didn't have to haul anything, there's some
ask away
mystery to this.
Go ahead.
Okay, so you went to Milwaukee Airport.
I went to Chicago.
Okay, so Chicago.
Oh man,
so it could be anything.
Okay,
no,
wait.
It can't. They'd have nothing in their rental centers.
Oh, thank you.
O'Hare?
Yeah.
Or, okay, I was going to say O'Hare or Midway, because that would make a difference.
O'Hare, yep.
Okay.
Go big or go home.
Yeah, it's got to be American. I'm guessing American. I'm starting right off the bat.
Wait, are you guessing or are you asking?
I'm saying American, yes or no, as a question.
No. Ooh.
What color is your Nissan Armada?
I did say go big or go home, didn't I? That's not what I meant about the car. I meant about the airport. So it is not an Armada.
Okay.
Oh, go ahead.
So then I will I will presume then it is a sedan. Well, do you like it?
That's the good question.
I thought I was going to, and I do not.
Oh, now that actually, that muddies the water quite a bit.
I know.
Okay, I think I have a guess. I will wait till our final, or if Eric Eric had a good question. That was probably more accurate than we thought. Chris, if you've got a final question.
Chris probably knows.
I don't.
He does not. I didn't tell him.
I only know what company it was rented through.
Yeah, because
which used to matter and now doesn't matter as much.
Yeah.
My question is, what is the rental size class that you
I stupidly picked compact at first because at national it doesn't really matter because you just pick the lane. When I show up to the budget line, which is where I was because it's through work, I was like, I do not want a compact anymore. Can you upgrade me? So I paid $4 more to upgrade. So it's intermediate, whatever the next one is. Yeah.
Which is basically a compact with another pair of doors.
Yeah, sure. But I was like, I don't really want a compact. So I thought I would get something a little bit better.
I have a guess.
Okay.
Toyota Corolla.
No.
I was thinking.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a good guess.
Nope.
Because Camry.
Nope.
No, I know she'd
Camry's
like that.
full size. Camry's
we
a
all
full
like
size
Camrys.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's not a matter of opinion. I'm telling you.
I'm gonna say
Camry is a full size.
RAV4. Like you got a weird upgrade.
Oh no.
CX5.
Nope.
Jeff or Jeff already guessed.
Maxima. I'm
stumped. Nope. Honda Accord.
Oh,
what?
Wow.
And you didn't like it?
I did. I hate it. It's a base model 2021 with 30,000 plus miles on it. It is crappy inside. It does not move. I am like So as soon as they're like, do you want the Nissan or do you want the Kia? And I was like,
neither.
Please just give me, come on. And so I had already had my stuff.
No. Yeah.
I already have my stuff ready and I was trying to be really pleasant. And so I'd already waited an hour plus. And so I was like, I want to negotiate this a little bit better, but no. So she was like, Honda. I said, yes, just okay. Like, I just figured that wouldn't be so bad. Really not impressed.
It should be 1.6 turbo with a CVT, right, Chris?
1.5.
1.5.
It's really, it does not move. Like, if I just want to like get off the line to just drive away, I have to like step on the gas all the way. And I'm really just not impressed.
CVTs are terrible.
Yeah.
The Honda one's not bad. I've driven my dad's CRV all over the place, and it's the same thing. Well, you're used, when you say the interior is not very good, look at what you're comparing it to.
It's not, it's really just an Escalade plastic though. Like I guess I had a little bit. That's what every other
car is.
I swim in crappy plastic every day. So.
Okay. All right. So maybe my expectations are a little bit inappropriate. I wasn't expecting Mercedes level. I was expecting give me something. So I just not really happy with it. Eric, do you have a comment?
Before we move totally past rental cars, has had a good rental car store. I actually have two of them. The last two minivans I've rented have had 50 pounds of pressure in the rear tires for some reason.
Oh, wow.
It's exciting. Makes it fun to drive around the neighborhood on the way back. But on the last Lemons rally, Jeff Stobbs had a rental. The only thing left in the lot was a BMW 5 Series. So he got that for great. He starts driving around. He's like, something's weird about this. In addition to the 67,000 miles on it.
Yeah.
And he looked on the build plate. It was a 2018.
Wow.
In a rental fleet. He was just like, I don't know what's happening.
A 2018
How did that even survive?
In a rental fleet with 60,000 miles. That is someone in management is taking a gamble because you are asking for a big repair bill.
Yeah.
Not only that, but 60,000 miles in what, 4 years? That's like, in this rental market, that's been rolled back like at least 12 times, right?
They bought some kind of titled problem former lease. I'm guessing is what they ended up.
So this is like Fred's
bought it used. No, it's like they just needed a car. Is it a car? Is it a car? Can I rent it?
I think that's what they do now. There were enough in the lot, but this was also a Tuesday at noon, or like it was about 10 a.m. by the time I was there, and line was astronomical, and I just hate anything but national because I hate talking to people. I'm like, I did everything on my phone. I still had to talk to people. I'm like, why?
And wait for an hour in line as opposed to just walk up to a car and leave.
And then you just watch all of the sad people that don't have confirmations, that don't actually rent a car, and then start yelling.
Standing in line like this. Shoulders rolled forward, their head.
Right? Or they're literally yelling in not English to manager at Avis. You're like, really?
How are you going to be a rental car place and you're not going to rent me a car?
Basically. Or they wanted a bigger size, but they didn't have it or whatever. So I just Harbor Freight
frequent card. This is
okay. So I'm sorry that went on too long, but yes, I'm not a huge fan of base model Accord, just saying.
All right. So Chrissy's an elitist. That's going to the show notes.
What's new?
Mental. Are you doing swimmingly in Vegas?
Yeah, we did. We had another round of floods. There's if you poke around on Reddit and Facebook, there are videos of people on pool floaties floating down the underneath the link here in Las Vegas. There was a guy who turned Fremont Street into his own personal slip and slide. Those are videos.
This is all so disgusting. It makes me itch from here. Like the thought of like doing anything with the water that is around
washed
there.
Off of Vegas Street.
Oh my gosh. I want to hurl.
You're gonna pick up some gonosorphiphilitis if you got any open source.
All of it.
And then immediately everyone's like, hey, is Vegas okay? We're supposed to come out there next week. And we're trying to explain to them, this isn't Kentucky. It was okay 30 minutes after it was done flooding, but a lot of holes in the casinos. This time around though, our roof did a little better. So it depends on what direction the sideways rain is coming from. We were actually out of the house when that happened because we went to a silent It was a mobile silent disco. So it was a bar hopping trip with the headphones where you're doing the silent disco. They've put this stuff in a backpack now, and you can go from spot to spot. I'm still wondering about the wisdom of having drunk people wearing headphones wandering down a street, but it was a good time. And because of all those rainstorm we're having right now, our humidity is like at 50% and we're all melting.
Right? Let's cry a little.
We're all playing the smallest violins in the world just for you.
50%. Some days what I would give for 50%.
That's like triple what we're used to here.
Blah, blah, blah. You keep talking.
Yeah.
Okay.
I've had a quiet week.
Yeah. Well,
Jeff.
silent discos are quiet.
What about you, Jeff?
There you go. So
What are
my
you
wife is expecting to return to work. For those of you who don't remember, she's a college professor with a mega commute, like 90 miles each way. And so her 2015 Subaru Forester had to get some love. It went to the dealership and it's 170,000 miles, and it got the most ludicrous suggested repairs. I think I suggested that the other day, but I wanted to play a quick little game. What cost more? Straight out of Subaru. 6 tiny
He just
little
pulled
light
that from the
bulbs.
rear tire of the boat. Did you guys not see that?
Exactly. Side markers and license plate tag light bulbs, 6 of them. A serpentine belt or a brake fluid exchange, 3 of the items that are not being done by the dealer on this bill right here. Which one do you think costs the most?
I want to say serpentine belt because that implies labor, but you would not be outraged by that. So I'm going to say lights.
I'm going to say brake fluid flush then.
I'm also going to say lights because they're probably in some horribly inaccessible place that requires a stupid amount of work.
Yeah, like engine out service, just so you can get
or wrists that have 3 joints.
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
Or chopstick fingers.
I'm not sure where all 6 are. I know that the 2 in the tag were had to take the hatch apart, but 6 tag and marker bulbs, $30 each for $180.
Holy what?
Brake fluid exchange, $150.
Oh.
Serpentine belt, $220.
Not $2.
Mental gets the square. That wins.
We still can't see the paper.
That's
anyway.
fine. Yeah. So I did. Go ahead.
The Serp belt on a Subaru is right there. Like it's right there.
There's nothing to do.
And there's plenty of room. So get to it.
Zip.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That's like the one easy thing on a Subaru. That's hilarious.
Yeah.
See, if you take a Mercedes in for a serpentine belt, they do the bulbs free of charge while you have your cappuccino.
I understand that. And they charge you like the deficit of, the annual deficit of Brazil to get it done. So anyway, so I had to check the axles because they said the axles were bad. Screw you, they're fine. I did the light bulbs. I had to check some tires, and I fixed a rattle in her exhaust using the tool that I bought at PRI, that little wire thing.
The wire.
Exactly.
Tool, yeah.
The clamp
hose
type.
clamp with wire tool. That thing was so fun.
Greatest
none
thing.
of us have ever used it. We just said that's so cool, and then Jeff
I bought it.
It's
I
first time we used it.
finally got to use it. I have a video. It will go up on YouTube as soon as I edit it.
Surprised you could find it first.
Oh, it's right on my desk.
Oh,
good.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I also had to do a few items around the house because due to some banking issues, we have to get a CO for our house. So I had to fix a couple of, hanging wires that could electrocute someone.
No, make your home fit to live in.
Exactly. Exactly.
Okay.
Do you still not have a banister off of the...
don't have a banister yet. So
and that was okay?
No, we failed. So
okay,
we failed
that's like the biggest tripping hazard ever. You're just like, let me just go off this.
Oh, a 6-foot fall onto tile. That's totally fine.
But it really opens the room up.
Tile. Angled
it opens the room up.
It does. So yeah, so I have to do the banister. So I was sanding and all that this weekend. So yeah, more on that. But yeah, I have to fix some electric stuff, and I hate house electric. Whoever built that stuff is stupid.
Don't electrocute your son again.
No. Yeah, that's it. That's it for me. So I guess we've already heard that Eric's here. Hi, Eric, host number 5, Eric Rood, Everything Bagel from 24 Hours of Lemons, former podcaster, and the man with the deepest voice this side of Darth Vader. Eric, what are you working on?
Well, I'm working on Married Life. Pretty good.
Yay. Congratulations.
I feel like that's the same thing as like body work. It's all about the prep, and you prepped right for that one.
There's still work.
Okay. What am I doing? Getting caught up on media. We're obviously way behind if you've been paying attention to the Lemons releases on the YouTube.
Where is my wrap-up video?
I know.
I want my wrap.
I'm literally working on the New Jersey one right now. The audio is all recorded. I have to dig through all the clips that we have. For some reason, we have like 900 clips. So it's been a really fun 2 days of just digging through it. What else? Working
was
on
Aaron the photographer for that or videographer?
Yes, he was.
I think he does a fantastic job. Keep hiring him. He's excellent.
Yes, we love Aaron. Aaron is too talented for Lemons, so obviously we're going to keep him around as long as we can.
Yeah, absolutely. I caught the Lemons Rally wrap up videos today with you and Jeff Stobbs. You got a twofer on that one. That's awesome. We'll put a link to that in the show notes.
We the rallies are. It's really hard to get enough media to talk about everything just because everybody's so spread out. So we kind of are going to do twofers. So we should have another pair of them being filmed sometime soon for the Rust Belt Ramble and Hell on Wheels California. Fall foliage coming up soon, and the Great River Road. And I'm working on the 23 schedule for the rallies, and we're working on the race schedule for that. There's a couple other really big things that we're working on that can't tell you about yet, but soon.
So you're not doing like anything, just kind of sitting around.
Yeah.
So you're not going to give our listeners any exclusives at all.
We are not going to Sebring next year. There's an exclusive.
There you go.
Yep.
You heard it here first, ladies and gentlemen.
They told us to actually they just didn't answer. So cool. Really
California no, as it were.
All right.
There you go.
Oh well.
In other news and notes,
a lot of our listeners have race cars in their garage or driveway. Some plated, insured, and semi-street legal. Some not, but everyone has a temptation to always go out on the street. Like the block around our house has been used many, many, many times, mostly with Citroens. Anyway, James Cooney at the Daily Mail tells us of a historic race car owner who's succumbing to that temptation. Recently in the Czech Republic, a Ferrari GP2 adorned with the Schumacher 2004 livery has been filmed driving on the roadway. That GP2 is a feeder series for Formula One. So you might have guessed, frowned upon by law enforcement. Owner is in some trouble.
Are you suggesting that the Czech law enforcement might not have a good sense of humor about
perhaps not? I don't know. But what's more amazing is this is not the first time it happened, because it also in 2019, a seemingly identical car was sighted being driven on the same stretch of road.
Oh.
So, I mean,
wow, two cars that look the same.
Amazing, right? Reportedly, the local police tracked down the owner at the time, but he denied he was behind the wheel. But because he was safety minded and wearing a helmet, identification was impossible, so they couldn't file charges. Just say it wasn't you. It's fine. Surprisingly, the Ferrari made it back both times without breaking down.
Wow.
Pretty impressive.
Yeah. I by the way, I forgot to mention, but I got a ticket this week. I get a ticket. This guy gets off clean. World's not fair.
He has a Ferrari.
Yeah.
Seriously. Yeah.
Also,
you have a Hyundai.
21,000 miles a year in New Jersey. It's part of the price of doing business.
How bad was it?
A 2-pointer. I'm probably not even going to contest it.
You got to contest it on principle.
Careless driving. He said I pulled out in front of a guy.
Oh, you weren't going like 200 and then a 100? You weren't on the autobahn that you were just going?
Yeah, we have texts of you being way more careless than that.
With a cop in the picture on the Waze.
If they're running radar, I can see them. If they're just driving along the street, don't see them all the time.
Okay. In more amazing race news, the Iceman cometh to NASCAR. 2007 F1 champion Kimi Räikkönen is making his Cup Series debut at Watkins Glen International this weekend. Kimi will be driving as part of the Trackhouse Project 91 initiative designed to bring international racing drivers to NASCAR. He'll be running with Daniel Suarez, the only Mexican driver in NASCAR, and Chastain. Suarez told motorsports.com, I think he's going to be fast. The speed is there, and the racing part is going to be the process, because it doesn't matter how much you practice in the simulator. It doesn't matter how test you do. The racing part is the racing part. Adding that Kimi may not understand how aggressive other drivers can be. A link to the article by Sean Keeley on the comeback is linked in our notes.
The ultimate irony of this would be if Kimi Räikkönen won, and it would be the shortest pit lane interview in the history of NASCAR.
Leave me alone. I know what I'm doing.
Yeah, it was good race. Thank you.
I need to go have a shit.
America race big cars. I win.
You all suck. All right. We all took basic economics in school.
I
even
did
the
not.
guy with the liberal arts.
You didn't?
But even Jeff understands supply and demand. We also know the difference between leveraging a market advantage and outright greed. So the folks over at markup.org, a website that is built specifically to compile data on dealerships and determine who is marking vehicles up over MSRP and by how much. The site, which is linked in our notes, allows you to search by location, brand, or other keywords to find dealers or vehicles in their area and compare that to the MSRP markup. It started as a Google Doc way back in 2020, and it was originally meant to gather data on just Toyota 4Runners, which are always hugely marked up, and Tundra sales. But now it is a sizable database utilizing various web crawlers that gathers public data on dealer activity. So you're shopping for a tow pig near Toadsuck, Arkansas? That is a real place, by the way. You'll know if a particular dealer is asking too much over the OEM recommended pricing.
I think the answer is, unless it's like a Dodge, yes.
Or didn't we also found out Alpha's not marking up?
That's true. Yeah. Nobody wants them. Last year, I talk about this all the time. John Deere litigation involving them locking the software on their equipment so that farmers can't fix their own equipment, and they had to like shut down all the farm equipment in Russia by pushing the magic button. So yeah, we've talked about this. The right to repair thing is a big deal in my book. But gearheads are going to gearhead and hackers are going to hack. At the recent DEF CON hacking conference right there near Mental in Vegas, a software jailbreaker known as Sick Code, your name is terrible. It sounds like somebody in Mental's cell phone directory. Got into John Deere's internal software. Thomas Hyundai, again, probably a made-up name. That's a joke. At the Autopian, gives us the deets. He says the first order of business, running farmer-themed version of Doom. Then the breaking of the John Deere software is a fairly large leap forward in the right to repair fight between John Deere and its consumers, which has been hacking for a long time. This hack extends to, but even to local independent auto repair shops. We've mentioned this before, right to repair. We've had the laws in Massachusetts. So yeah, if you want to fix something, such as your mobile phone, your tractor, or your car, you need to have access to the software and not be sued. If you own the piece of equipment, you should own the software. You should be able to fix it yourself. So call your congressman or your state senator or whoever and tell them you want right to repair. Link in the show notes.
Now, Speaking of right to repair, you're going to need parts, or sometimes you just want to upgrade your stuff. And one of the best places to find that is, of course, at racingjunk.com. Been playing phone tag with our contact over there, but we will probably be doing a small thing at SEMA this year, since it's right here in our hometown. As anything involving racingjunk.com is always free to browse and it's free to post ads, but you can also get a membership, and they literally have everything you could possibly need. They even have a 24 hours of lemons section of just cars for 24 hours of lemons. RacingJunk.com, free to browse, free to post. Check them out.
Nice. Upcoming races.
Champ Car is at Gingerman for the Cookie Cutter Classic. Listen to this lineup.
Wait.
30.
It's Cookie Cutter, the description of the cars?
Yeah, I think so, because there are 33 cars.
Yep.
11 are BMWs.
That's 1/3.
Five-
Boring.
5
Boring.
Miatas, 0 Hondas, 1 Porsche, but a 16-valve Mercedes 190.
That's good.
That's okay because it's mighty. So overall, I'm just gonna say boring.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Okay.
All right. Recent results. Eric, you were just at Autobahn. We heard there are, of the 66 cars registered, around half retired before the checker. Anything weird going on there, or nothing to report? Just normal carnage?
I don't know. Everybody broke everything.
Yeah.
That's pretty much it. I have no idea why. Lots of brake problems. At least 3 different cars had the rear end fall out, like the whole subframe fell out. Just weird stuff.
That's very Midwestern, though.
Was it extra
Yeah.
hot?
It's
Anything?
rust.
No, it wasn't hot
No?
at all. That's the crazy thing. It was like super nice, like 75, no humidity, no sun. I don't know. It's bizarre.
Okay.
I-
Well,
Tide goes in, tide comes out. You can't explain that. So
sure. It just seems weird that there's a whole lot of them that didn't make it. Well, the winner
Magnets,
on
how do they work?
laps was Badger Racing Inc. and their Hella Sweet Wrangler Dale RX-7.
That's nice. Somehow the so cheaty $500 my ass V8 swapped BMW from the Polka Kings stayed running all weekend long and won Class B. Foreshadow to tonight's topic,
Or not.
or not?
yeah, it was it's not the V8 one. This
Oh,
one wasn't.
never mind.
No.
That was
Oh.
my bad. I'm
This-
the one that did that.
Yeah, this one's the stock straight 6 5-speed. That team, by the way, they had never been on track before they did Lemons 5 years ago, and they finished 3rd overall, won Class B. So
That's good. 3rd overall Class B.
Yeah.
Totally foreshadowing to what we're going to be
Yeah.
talking about tonight. God's chosen class, of course, Class C, went to the Gingerman IOE winner, Stranger Danger, and the Ruckus Rangers in their 65 Corvair. A rare double win.
no, they won IOE
different
in
race,
June.
Jeff.
Yeah,
This is
Oh.
Autobahn.
Oh.
Read
Gingerman,
the
they won
notes.
IOE. Got it.
so they've run 2 races. They won an IOE, and then the stupid thing just runs. It's crazy. Like they've done nothing to it. They like pulled it out of a field and threw a crappy Corvair engine in the thing, and it just kind of keeps going.
It's
all
it doesn't
the
make any
other
sense.
Corvair teams have yanked the motor, right? I mean, they're
Yep, the only Corvairs that have ever done well actually have had air-cooled engines. There was one like 10 years ago in the Northeast and one on the West Coast in the early days. And everybody else puts V8s in them or Subaru
Jag
engines.
swaps or whatever.
Jag swap. Jesus, that thing. Yeah. Sorry, Russ, if you're listening. But man, that thing was special.
Special like special ed.
Yeah. But yeah, Corvair won Class C. By the way, should point out Derek Steinkamp's Quantum almost won C.
What?
We'll talk about that in a minute.
All right.
Wow.
Part of
Way
the
to
main
go, Derek.
topic, actually. Yeah.
Okay. Org Choice is a well-done team name. We're just here for the SR as a iRacing hint there in a 99 Blazer. Judge's choice was 6-speed racing in a CRV, which probably has something swapped in it to have 6 speeds. No, just different.
It's an automatic. Yep.
Automatic, even better. Nice. Heroic Fix was Distracted Motorsports in a Merkur because they fixed a Merkur.
True.
Screwed was Fieros. Apparently all the Fieros, they are all screwed because they're Fieros. Anyone except Jeff in Utah cannot make a Fiero work.
Yep. There were 3 of them, which is the most we've had since Nelson's Ledges. Or where there were 5 of them. You can believe that, which is maybe the most Nelson's Ledges thing in the history of Nelson's Ledges.
Yeah.
But we figured we'd put them all back in C, even though the Saab swapped one had just 1 C, and we figured, let's just see how this shakes out. Surely one of them is going to win. No, just not at all.
Unless there's
Amazing.
a boat. Yeah.
The Nelson's Legends is like the middle of the middle of the middle of the Midwest, right? It's like every Midwestern trope there was. Fieros, juggalos,
Drug bridge.
bridges, drug bridges.
bridge.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's near a bunch of abandoned factories. Yep, that pretty
much.
much tracks.
So
Old Nelsonville, Ohio.
I'm sure there's a story behind the Rainbow Trout Warrior teetering on the brink of IP infringement trophy.
Yeah, so it was Lemon's first Lumina Z34, which
Ooh.
I mean,
Nice.
Yeah.
That's
Why,
excellent.
why has it taken so
Mm.
long is the question.
I don't know. I mean, any of the Chevy Z cars is, Lemon's gold, obviously, but the Z34, of course, as though everybody knows this piece of useless trivia, had the dual overhead cam version of the 60-degree V6. I saw it. I was like, there's no way this thing's gonna run. It ran the whole damn weekend. But they did the whole Jeff Gorton's fisherman thing with the Monte Carlo, the Rainbow Warrior scheme. So for both IP infringement of Jeff Gordon and Gordon's fisherman.
So that's why we get the Rainbow Trout Warrior. I love that. Yeah. Right. What was it? Was the team name Jeff Gordon's Racing?
I think it's Jeff Gordon's Racing. Yeah.
Nice.
That's
awesome.
excellent. And IOE, longtime competitors, and yet more iRacing trope, the TDI Store Racing.
Yep, that's the Moose Schlong TDI. So, I mean, I'm surprised you guys don't have the photo of Mental handy.
Oh, I'm sure he
does.
He probably has it as number
does.
2 on his phone.
Yeah.
And Eric has it on his phone too, of me wearing the tights on the actual Moose Schlong.
Yeah. No, it was great. They were the 60th fastest car out of 63 starters, and they finished 20th. So
Nice.
Well, it's half the field and finish. So there's
they would have probably won C, but they were doing all their driver changes in the paddock because the thing it ran about 5.5 hours on a tank of diesel. So like 30 gallons of diesel for the entire weekend. So
wow.
Pretty sweet.
Efficient use of consumables. That's great.
Yeah, absolutely. You're at Audubon. Mike Gritter, sometimes Lemon's co-conspirator, manages that track. It's a great facility, but there was no Halloween meets gasoline, which is not an automatic trophy. So that tells me that everyone showed up kind of weak sauce.
Oh, there was one. It probably didn't end up in the results.
Oh,
I need to edit
wonderful.
that.
Okay, excellent. Please tell us the
All
story.
right. Your listeners may or may not be familiar with Rax Restaurants, RAX. And it was one of those really good obscure themes that only a few people get. But it was a restaurant chain in the Midwest in the 80s and 90s. It was like crappy Arby's, basically.
Nice.
But they hired a marketing firm in the 90s who came up with this very interesting spokesperson called Mr. Delicious. And Mr. Delicious was in the state of having a midlife crisis. And so all of the pitches were, Rex is great for Mr. D because he's going through a divorce,
What?
Yeah, you have to look it up, but
I feel like Jeff is already doing this.
I am.
I'm about to share.
It was a little conceptual, but Brian Wagner came dressed as Mr. D with the bow tie, and they shot a Rax Restaurants commercial in BS inspection. So that was great.
Wow.
Mr. D basically bankrupted the franchise, but there are 5 of them left, and one of them happens to be in Joliet. So we got Rax roast beef sandwiches as a bribe also. So it was a little high concept, but it's pretty great.
So here is some of the things that they talk about. He has been divorced, and that his current marriage to Mrs. Delicious is his second one. He had a trip to Bora Bora with 2 of his female friends, but he was unfulfilled.
Well, it's part of the TV spot or the radio spot for that is great, but it doesn't say anywhere that his friends are female. And implies that it's kind of a
maybe on a down low situation.
It's kind of one of the specialist tie kind of things is really the implication. Which for 1992, when you're trying to market to the Midwest, it's a little bit of a stretch.
That's a little edgy.
I feel like.
All right, well, that is bookmarked for later, and we will put a link in the show notes to that article for everybody.
It's basically Tim and Eric, great job, like 15 years before that, and trying to sell roast beef to chubby Midwesterners. So
that is so great.
That's amazing.
So wonderful.
Yeah.
Right.
Let this be a lesson to all of you out there. If you want to get Halloween meets gasoline, you got to go deep. There is no, I don't care how good your costumes are. If it's easy to figure out and kind of basic, it ain't going to win.
Well, I mean, there are many ways to approach it, but the obscure theme is one way. The also bludgeon people over the head with your theme for the entire weekend, also effective.
I'm going to go.
Or as we call it, LOLMB.
Yeah, exactly.
Chris, you had your hand up. Did you want to say something?
No, I was just thinking we resemble that remark occasionally.
Yeah.
Oh,
great.
That is awesome. You know who never has to bludgeon you over the head with their theme?
Chrissy's mom? Exactly.
I'm trying to figure it out.
Garage Heroes can do it for her.
That's right.
So it's
hey, Chrissy's mom.
Convenient.
Hey, Chrissy's sister and
all of them.
Brother-in-law, whoever else is listening, dad. Yeah, hi.
Cat. Yep.
The cat. I thought the cat was deaf.
Our cat's deaf.
Our cat's deaf.
All right.
Eric's cat is fine.
Doesn't matter.
Yep. I don't have a cat. Main topic time.
So this topic is actually based on Eric's observations, and he sent us an email just kind of like, here, you guys run with this. But we recognize that the person who got their start in lemons and once had their own website doing nothing but crunching the data on what brand, what team, what car stood the most chance of winning, needed to come on the show to do this. And a lot of people forget this about Eric because he is charming and entertaining and soothing when you talk to him. But Eric is a numbers guy on a level that normally people are socially awkward and hard to talk to. And everyone forgets that about you. But we're talking about not step on the wiener. And I've got, the little thing in here, but you could just walk us through this.
Yeah. Well, one of the things I think is really interesting is for all the subjectivity that goes into lemons, the way we class, the way it looks like it's pulled totally out of our ass, because it kind of is, but it kind of isn't. A really interesting thing's happened several times this year already, which is that a car whose fast lap is in the bottom half of the field has won Class B 4 times already this year. Which sounds like super nerdy, and why would that matter? But I always find that kind of stuff fascinating because the endurance racing is this weird outlier of a motorsport. And so when you have these people who are, quote unquote, slow winning a class, what they're really doing is being efficient, and they're kind of setting a model for how other people should probably be doing this. And if you ever wanted to do better at endurance racing or lemons specifically, these are kind of the people you should be paying attention to because they're doing it the quote unquote right way as far as the actual racing goes. And I find that kind of stuff fascinating. And, without having a whole lot of anecdotal data on how they're doing it, it's just worth pointing out that this is happening. And I went back and looked, and it's happened 30 times in the last 12 years. So it should be happening like once, maybe 1 to 3 times a year. The fact that we've had 4 in half a season means that there are some people who have really got it figured out. I think that's fascinating.
And good advice. You say in the Lemons wrap-up videos, stop trying to go fast and instead be efficient, stay out of the penalty box, We do the same thing. We tell people practice your pit stops.
Well,
Yeah.
so let's give some examples, like to get people know what we're talking about here.
Yeah.
So
The several teams have done it twice, and you guys are among them, with two different teams of yours, with the Civic many years ago, I think in New Jersey.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And then Dave did it in the Cressida also. So I don't know. I figure you're as good a people as anybody to ask. How do you go about, put yourself back 6 years ago and think about how you got there? What was your approach to it? Had you thought about this kind of thing ahead of time?
Yeah, well, absolutely. I think there's a lot that goes into it, and there's some other examples here that I think that we've got here that are good. Is that like when like 2020 at Thompson, when we won that one, our best lap was a 127.1. Cressida was on the same lap, best lap was a 130.8.
Right.
So big chunk of time there. And I think that particular race, it came down to fuel. All came down to fuel. And that was where they are very good at fuel and fuel economy and having, efficient strategy and pit stops. And we were fighting someone, and our fuel burn was atrocious.
Right.
And it made it rough, without a doubt.
They finished third with that. What was the time difference between the laps?
Two and a half seconds.
Almost, yes. Three and a half seconds.
Sorry. Yeah.
That's best fastest lap. So huge difference.
And I'll go back to, it was 2016 when both of our teams won B class. Our Honda was very slow. I mean, that was when it was this single cam VTEC.
No turbo, just
no turbo, no nothing.
20,000 mile race motor. Yeah.
But we had the full 22-gallon cell, and we ran a long shifts just to get there. And we knew that going in.
We stopped once a day at that race. Yeah. That was it.
Yeah.
And
how many flags?
None. No flags.
Oh, no flags. If you flag,
you're done.
Yeah.
We stacked drivers to people that could maintain a good pace over a long period of time and be smart about it. I had 9 hours of seat time that weekend. That was pretty phenomenal.
It's a lot. Yeah.
Well, and we used to put you in at the end because your fuel burn was higher than a lot of us.
Yeah.
And
although you're running right next to him though.
Well, yeah, in the Mazda. The Mazda got a problem. I can't make, but we've actually talked about this. Eric, we've talked about our Mazda 3. It's got a 2.5 liter whatever from a Ford Fusion MZR, right? MZR?
Yep.
And the fuel burn is too high. We don't think that modern car, when it's driven in anger, it whatever the cams are doing in there, it's burning too much fuel.
I didn't use too much gas. I think it's you.
Oh, it's definitely me.
And it's my problem.
Well,
it's definitely my problem.
This goes to another part of this, which is that I think when you drop into a race and you see somebody beating you and you can't really explain it, you automatically assume they're cheating or they're getting some kind of advantage. And as you just pointed out when talking about the Civic, now when talking about the Mazda, there's no replacement for experience driving a car, and specifically experience with that specific car. You learn everything about it. It doesn't really take long for the people with the right mindset to kind of learn a car. A guy like Anton can drop in a car and pretty much learn it in about 90 minutes.
Unless it's his own Volvo, in which case he will fiddle with the suspension all week.
Right. Yeah. There's the noodling aspect of that. But you guys had at that point raced the Civic for what, 2 or 3 years? You'd had time to figure out what it was.
And a few years with the other Civic too, with the same engine though, that was the hero motor, just wouldn't die.
Yeah. And that was last weekend. Save the Tatas were competitive as they always are. And people were just kind of floored by how clean they drive, how they stay out of trouble, how quick their stops are. And, it was literally their 45th race with that car. So, I mean, they know every inch of that car and know how to drive it. And so, knowing your car, having thought about where you're going to be at some point in a day, Chris, be ready at 3:00 and actually, having pants on, that kind of thing makes a big difference.
No, absolutely.
Pants are the worst.
We have talked, we've done entire podcasts about being organized and making sure that the fuel cans are ready when the fuel's got to go in, and everybody knows what you're going to do when the car comes in and who's going to fuel and who's going to do the fire bottle. I think a lot of people understand that. I think a lot of people understand, like,
so this is
break
team characteristics. Like, can we group some of these things together to make it a little easier to understand? So team characteristics, organization, preparation, not just have the car prep so that it doesn't break, or minimize your chances of it breaking. You can never stop it, really. But then, like Jeff said, have the fuel ready. Have your team know what their job is. Not be looking for Ralph at 10 minutes before the pit stop because you need one more guy and you can't find him. Yeah, because he's in the porta potty, right? And he doesn't have a radio.
And also, everybody's fed. Everybody's like hydrated. You know what I mean? Everyone knows where their gear is.
What's the team with the yellow? And this ties into some other topics, because you're going to start seeing a lot of Ford Focus. They're hitting that bottom of the depreciation curve. They're in the junkyards. They're not a bad platform, but the yellow one, and
you're talking about the Mofoco guys out of the Twin Cities.
The no step on Eric. And at NOLA years ago, they were fourth from the bottom in terms of times, and they still finished. And then that's a team. They're all consistent. They're all within a couple of seconds of each other. And once they kind of got their heads out of the penalty box, they've been successfully doing quite well. And it always seems like they're having fun too. And it's probably because they're not frustrated, because they're not looking for somebody in the toilet, or they know when, okay, after this fuel stop, we got to have all the jugs in the truck and you got to run down the road to the Wawa to fill them all up. So we're ready for, at this point or that point.
Well, that's a good transition, because, people look at Three Pedal Mafia and they see people having fun. And that isn't an accident. When you know what's expected of you, you know where to be at a certain time or what is going to happen, kind of frees you up to actually enjoy the weekend then,
as long as the car's not broken.
Totally good point.
I mean, that's always the specter of lemons, though, is the car could always break anytime. And that's, just part and parcel of it. And again, to do this with a bottom half of lap time car and still win a Class B, for example, or overall with, a bottom 2/3 lap time, you kind of have to have nothing can go wrong, basically. But if you've prepared for it, it kind of works itself out.
I would say that the preparation piece, even when it goes horribly wrong, can add to, still having fun. Of everyone on the team will agree, nope, this one is properly done in. So, in various cases, either go fetch the spare car, like the guys always do at Gingerman until they brought the Mustang, or, okay, wristbands off, crack them open. Let's go help other folks, because we all agree. We've had this level of expectations and we have passed that point. So we agree that this is now time for plan B.
So to sum up some of the driving characteristics we just talked about, it's fast enough, but not necessarily the fastest, because that's the edge where you're going to set a wheel off. You're going to have contact. You're going to break the car. You're going to burn too much gas. So being able to consistently run at or near 90% among everybody, with the occasional fast lap when you got to get by somebody, I think that's key. And the ability to stay on as long as you possibly can in your shift.
I think handling, and like, if we're talking about car characteristics, can we change the car characteristics for a moment?
Have we gotten through enough team characteristics? Have we talked about attitude, preparation, Driving level, intensity, still have fun. We're good. That's pretty much it.
Organization.
Okay, yeah, can we go? Let's move on to the car.
Car characteristics. Fast don't win, but handling and brakes does.
Fast can win. I would say fast can win. It's a lot more work. And I think that gets, well, any way you win is a lot of work. Okay. You can win with a car that runs 90-minute stints if you're really fast and really efficient. You can win with a car that'll run 220 and it's mid-range lap times. You go in with a car that runs 3.5 hours and is just consistent. I think it was something Jeff said a while ago that all you have to do is stick to what you're doing and not screw up, and you've punched the ticket to have a chance. And that's kind of what endurance racing is. There's 100 ways to skin a cat, basically, and every car is going to work in a different way. And that's what's always fascinated me about the endurance racing aspect of Lemons, which is, obviously super serious for a topic that I'm talking about.
Well, and I didn't mean fast doesn't win. Power and acceleration and gobsmacking torque is not always the fastest way around a road course.
Right.
And I think
I'll use the sorry for party failbird as an example of that one. It's fast. It's a bridesmaid.
It'll blow your doors off down that straight.
Or put a wheel in there.
Or put a wheel
too.
in there. Yeah, absolutely. But we've talked about, the impending 350Z onslaught that is coming, because that is a very powerful car that can be had pretty cheap. And I don't know if they're going to dominate or not, because I don't know that.
Because they're terrible engines.
They're Nissans.
But
But
what is it? Like, we all know that, the E36, E46 is probably the easy button these days, and nothing is easy.
Mm-hmm.
They're not hugely powerful.
No, it's close to the sweet spot, though. I think we're talking about A at this point, though. I mean, we got away from our B conversation, but it's whatever times you're trying to run, whatever class you're in, it's finding the sweet spot of enough power, but not too much. Great reliability for the most part, great handling and brakes. And I'm going to add another one in here. Enough driver comfort makes a big difference.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like that's where our Civic
That's so nice of you to add. You need to have all of your drivers to be able to tell you that I'm dying for us to be like,
I knew we were all dying. I was dying too. I just wasn't complaining about it.
I want to touch on this because we're having the power conversation, but again, Eric provided us with some data. So if we look at 4 events this year, where the B class cars, and in each one of these cases, I'm guessing the B class winner was top 10.
Eric, am I allowed to share your sheet with the screen?
Yeah,
for those people watching on YouTube. I don't know if there's some
first one that comes up,
information there.
The first one that comes up is the Psychobilly Crap Can Cranbook 318. Now, this car has been kicking around Lemons for how many years? How many different teams have owned and raced that car?
I think only 2. These guys bought it from Speedy Cop, who built it in 11 or 12.
Yeah, it was the pumpkin or something back then.
They've done it twice. If you look, they did it in 2015 also. And
oh yeah, look at that.
Like smack in the middle. But at Barber this year, like 69th. Nice, by the way. Out of 100.
Yeah. I saw that.
That's like way into the bottom half. And it's a 4-cylinder E36 with a fuel cell. Like it's not,
it's the aerodynamics of a Cranbrook welded to an E36.
Yeah, it's got another, 2 feet of frontal area on the roof. So, it's not the most efficient car. But they just stay out of trouble. You don't see them making stupid moves. You hardly see them making moves at all. They just kind of drive their own race, and it kind of pays out at the end. It's really gratifying to see a team that's got it figured out like them.
And we should mention, for those of you who are watching on YouTube, the chart that you see in front of you are all the B class winners.
Mm-hmm.
Like we said that, air data, but this is the data that you pulled. And there have been four B class wins this year. But if you look through the years, there's a good bunch.
Yeah, and there's a few, that stand out. The Blue Shells in the Midwest, they ran a Honda Accord with an A20, a carbureted A20, which is not going to blow anybody's doors off with it. And they won at Road America with it, which is amazing.
Yeah, and that one is in almost every one of these cases. That one you just mentioned, that was the 47th fastest out of 62 cars at a very, very fast track. That's impressive.
They were doing their taxes down the street on that thing.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
41 out of 51.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Bottom 10 lap times.
Yeah.
Yeah. The Ginger Man was 47 out of 62. You're right.
Yeah.
Same team.
That's impressive. I remember that Blue Goose win at MSR Houston, and they're not even halfway there. This is really interesting. And this is a good one too, for this year, the Onset Tetanus 944, which is I've driven that car and it's a really good car, but it's also a Porsche 944, which means it's going to assume the service position, which is up on jack stands in the rear while they do something to the transaxle.
Yeah.
And the first time it held together in the bottom half, it won and got 6th overall at NOLA. That's a fast track.
What I think that was from them, and I mean, you've been to MSR races, Houston, you've seen them working on this thing. It happens every single time. And I think what it was is they realized that, they need to just baby the thing and get it to the end. And a 219 at NOLA is not fast at all.
No.
And a 944, doesn't have a ton of horsepower, especially that one is pretty tired. So, with the 5/8 of a mile straight going down NOLA's, front straightaway, they're not going to make up time. So they just didn't step on their wieners. And that's kind of it. You just don't step on your wiener.
Yeah. Here's something else. I want to just look at this whole list. I mean, Volkswagen Quantums aside on this list.
Yeah.
These are all cars that I would consider good handling cars.
Yeah.
Golfs, E30s,
fuel
Volvo
efficient
240s. Yeah.
A lot of Hondas.
I mean, a Pinto. I don't know how they got that in, but go ahead.
So
I guess
Chris and Chrissy have driven that car.
That's
Fish's Pinto
Fish's
wagon.
Pinto,
And that was at
terrible.
Sonoma, and it had the 131st quickest lap in it. They won Class B running away.
13th, and that's a high speed track. Sonoma is a
isn't one better than the other? I don't remember the bad one.
I think
neither of them are particularly good. We'll put it
no, true. They're not good. I just don't remember which one we were in.
But yeah, I mean, it's, as you point out, these are all, with the exception of the Audi and the Quantum, which are pretty similar actually. These are all light cars. They all handle pretty well. Volvo 240, not really light either, but a good handling car. I don't know if there's a common thread other than efficiency is playing a part of this, and maybe that's what's interesting to me, because it's not the fastest car that's winning, which I mean has happened in Class B. You had the Monkey House guys at Thompson last year. That car's quick. They had always stepped on their wieners, so I felt okay putting them in B. And fast and blow uppy is also part of the Class B equation. So, and
now they've basically retired that car and are running the Ombre instead.
Yeah, which is hilarious to me for a great many reasons.
And they ran like 11th or 12th overall,
13th in the
13th
Ombre
overall in the Ombre.
Yeah,
that's amazing. Those guys are hats off, gentlemen.
One of the axioms, I guess, of Lemons that I picked up from Phil is that, with a few exceptions, you can probably make any car competitive in Lemons if you want to bang your head against it long enough.
But that's what I was going to say about Onset Tetanus's 944, because you said
they're neon.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're talking about the 944 because the 944 1B, it's years and years and years of development into that car.
Yeah. Yep. It's incremental. It's making incremental changes. And I think you guys probably have, if you've been around lemons, if you've run lemons, you've made the mistake of changing too many things at once. And then
Never.
Suddenly you have a car you can't drive because you tried to make it really good, really fast. And a lot of people just don't want to play the long game that it takes to be successful in lemons. And that's really a big part of it.
And the secondary thing, and this is what you're coming to, and Chris is touching on well, is the team is all on the same page. You look at that list, those are teams that, chicken and waffles, but I feel like they've evolved into something else.
Chicken and waffles, long story short, I told you we'd come back to the Quantum. That is the Quantum. It was run by Mike Austin, an automotive journalist. So there's 2 strikes against you. He won back-to-back
journalist.
Yeah.
Right?
No, he's a legit journalist. I think he's at Hemmings now. But anyway, it ran with a stock 10 valve engine for 2 races, just cleaned up. And it's taken Derek Steinkamp now 9 years and 150% more horsepower to get it back to competing in Class C. That's an organizational thing. And I love Derek to death, but he is not a guy who is thinking ahead at all. So.
But you talk about a team that, they show up and they are all of the shared vision.
Yes, correct.
Yeah, we're gonna drive ish, but it is. So you've got tetanus. The I want to say I've seen the volatile Ram MR2, but the Mr. Blue MR2. Now that's a family team.
It's a father and daughter, and the daughter's boyfriend or husband, not sure, her partner helps them fuel, but he does not drive because he doesn't know how to drive stick. So it's the father and daughter, and they're on the same page. They know exactly what they're doing. They have a game plan. That car is not fast. It doesn't stay on the track very long. 100 minutes, maybe.
Because it is all stock. That car is completely, I think the brake pads. And I remember we were watching their pit stop because we thought it might, make for some good media. And it was clean and quick and strapped in and off they went. Yeah. It is interesting because they do have really solid communication, and they knew exactly when that car was coming in. They were on the pit wall. They were ready to go.
Yeah.
In fact, during that pit stop, another team pulled in. The guy got out. His team was nowhere to be found, took his Hans device off, set it on the wall, asked Dale if it was okay to go find his team. 30 minutes later, comes back, and this is right next to the MR2. And then I joked that because he took his Hans and his helmet off and set it on the wall. And then I stood over there. I'm like, how are you going to get your helmet? Because you can't cross the line without your helmet on. And they were flustered by this for like 3 minutes. Still, one guy who was wearing all of his gear went, "Can I go get it?" Yes, that's the point I'm trying to make. You got to think these things through. And
yeah,
you connect the dots, and then
All right, so here's your B class recipe so far, and we're going to add to it. A team that is well organized. Everybody knows what they're doing. Everybody's on the same page. Everybody is fed. Everybody is ready to run the car as consistently as possible. No black flags. Fast enough. And then we want a car that is probably light and efficient. Although is a Cressida, how light is a Cressida?
How do you define fast enough? Because I think that's the point Eric's making, is all these cars are in the bottom third.
Well, that's it. It's fast enough for what the class you're trying to do. Like, you cannot get this kind of thing with the Rolls Royce. Just can't do it. That's impossible, no matter how good you are. So there's like a minimum, like you must be this tall to ride this ride.
Yeah. Well, I think the bottom limit is a Ford Pinto with a fuel cell in it. I mean, that seems to probably be about where the basement is, but I'd love for somebody to prove me wrong.
Or the diesel Jetta, right? I mean,
Or what was it? The league, the French car that they bought from Soggy that came with.
Yeah, don't think a Simca's
Simca?
gonna
No,
sniff around B.
The Simca is not tall enough to ride this ride.
Well, you know what though, but like Great Gobs of Oil, Yuri's Bell Huey Buick, whatever it is.
Yep.
I mean, that recently beat every single B car in the field. Let's talk about this at Thompson. We mentioned it before, but you know, people don't listen to every episode. Great Gobs of Oil, they won Class C. They were 11th overall. And their lap times were terrible, like 132. I didn't look at.
They were fantastic for an Isuzu.
Yeah. But like I said, 11th place overall in a Class C car that normally you would probably say not tall enough to ride this ride, not fast enough to compete in the B class.
It's that is a fascinating case study to me, because all four of you know Yuri well enough to know there is no big white board with stints written out, but the communication from Yuri is probably pretty clear, which is go drive kind of hard, but not too hard, and then don't step on your wiener. That's it. And sometimes that's enough for your drivers. And that's a big part of just knowing your team, knowing who you have driving your car also, and having people you trust, which is not something you just pick up. That is something you develop over years.
Mm-hmm. Totally.
You also had some hot shoes with him that week.
Yuri puts his A team in the Buick Opal Isuzu, as you do. So yes.
Totally.
Well, to win a class, you put the people that are fast enough and they're trustworthy enough. That's how you win.
Yeah.
Strategy, Chrissy.
Yeah.
You started the conversation with that. Go ahead.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I think all of these really do tie together, because that's what strategy is. It is making what is your goal and figuring out who can get you to that goal. And if your goal is to win C, then you're going to put the people that are fast enough in it. And that's what worked. And though I don't know the whole team, but I know that some of them not always the cleanest. So you end up with questionable. Well, I just say you have to trust them well enough then. That's what you need to do.
Yeah.
I think the trust is even keyer than fast enough. For forever, we joke about it, but we always put the dishwashing fairy in because there's 100% trust there.
That's my favorite mixed idiom from many years ago is never when a pint is holding a pint, it's doing the best that it can. So
for those of you not watching on YouTube, Eric has polished off his Guinness and was holding up the glass, the empty glass.
That's a misappropriation of you can't expect a pint to hold a quart, basically, which is another way of saying you should know your team well enough to know what to expect from them too. Yuri's not expecting a driver to get in the Opal and run a 128, like that's just not it, and telling somebody it's okay to not be the fastest person on the team is a big part of it. Endurance racing is all about checking your ego and being part of a team, which a lot of people don't like. So
and
some people didn't get that memo, Eric.
Yeah. we should mention that Yuri, this most recent race at Thompson, had guys he could trust.
Right.
And I don't mean to genderize that other than there are just no girls on his team, but he has frequently just sold seats to whatever random person could write a check. And in that thing is a town bicycle. Basically anybody can run a shift in it. But he really kept the team tight this last week or 2 weeks ago in Thompson.
I think it was Edwin's meat that was fueling them to the win.
Edwin's meat is always
it's the best.
Always.
Yep. I mean, that's being well fed as a team.
Totally.
But
other strategy though. Like,
go ahead. We've talked about this. We knew which race we could stop only once in. Mm-hmm. We knew that we were not going to do one stop at New Hampshire.
Right.
We knew that
we tried Thompson, that didn't work so well.
Yeah. I almost made it.
Yeah.
3 more laps, Jeff. I'm dead in the pits. Yeah, but we knew which, you have to know which tracks are better for your car, which fuel burn situations, which amount of hours. I mean, Thompson is 9 and 6. What is Thompson?
It was 10 and 5, I think. 9.5 and 5. Yeah.
Yeah, 9.5 and 5. While Jersey is like 7 and 7.
Yeah.
That is going to make a difference for your car with your fuel burn. So you have to have the right team. You have to pick the track and the situation that suits your car the best.
Yeah.
What else we got on
Maximizes
strategy?
yeah, that's it. Maximize your shifts. Like find a way to get the most fuel burn out of your car without running out, where you're not like coming in extra because because you're a half hour short, or it's that one guy just burns too much gas and has to now back off 6 seconds a lap, and there you go. You can't then follow your previous strategy if everyone's running 90% consistently all the time.
That's another side note of this one, is when you look at the tracks that this happened at, Gingerman comes up a lot. CMP comes up quite a bit. High Plains comes up a bunch, but they're 24 hours, which is its own completely different thing.
That's interesting because I'm seeing a lot of Barber, Jesus Hour, CMP, Jesus Hour. Gingerman now just is like Thompson. You don't start until after lunch on Sundays. This is very interesting. Okay.
But like New Hampshire only once, NJMP only once.
Yep. MSR once. Yeah.
That's interesting. Monticello. Hey, that's only on there once. Oh wait, they only let us run once.
Well, I mean, a new track also opens up a whole other realm of possibilities, but we probably don't need to go down that path. The point being, though, that it's reading the entire situation and figuring it out. There's no easy problem to solve in endurance racing. It's all kind of its own calculus. But you can figure it out with some pretty basic arithmetic, and not stepping on your wiener will get you pretty far down that road.
So to that end, to basic arithmetic, if there was a new team listening to this, they've got the perfect car. They're good people. What's the first math equation you would recommend they solve?
First math equation everybody should solve in Lemons is how many laps does one visit to the penalty box cost me? That's it. You start with that.
Yep.
Because if you can't drive cleanly, then you're not getting very far in Lemons, and you probably will go race somewhere else when you get strapped to the roof of the car and you don't understand why or don't think it's funny. But
or you fall in love with it and come back every time.
I mean, that's what happens more often than not, honestly. But figuring out what mistakes cost you is where you start with it. And then that applies to fueling as well, because fueling unsafely has the same. It's much better if you spend 10 minutes per fuel stop at your first race than 6 and you dump 8 gallons of gas on the ground and have to walk around the paddock getting embarrassed.
Maybe it's just the East Coast doesn't really do it, but are there a lot of teams getting fueling penalties?
No, I think we've got it pretty well. I think it's pretty clear from the outset that we want you to do it right, and we're happy to instruct you. Because I think that's a productive approach to it. But
a lot of people black flag, and the most common black flag is pass under yellow, right?
It is. That's the classic leave me alone, I know what I'm doing on my third race, and you don't. So
I think some of it is that we're doing more fueling in the paddock and in the hot pits now, where it can be a little bit better modern. It's a little more serious. Everyone's like, oh no, we have to bring all our gear, we have to do all this stuff. Or if you're just in your paddock,
safety flip flops.
But you have also got you've got Dale and Ken and whoever else is out there. I know we do better because I think somebody's watching. So you're going to be more serious about what you need to do. I also feel like, if I can interject for 1 second, my thought is, you said, if you are a new team and you have a great car, I said, really, the answer is it's going to take you 2 years to win.
It should, unless,
because
you
got to dial in the car, you got to dial in the team. I mean, you got to make sure the team, all of the things we've talked about are kind of like a little bit tenured. They're a little bit, you have more time with the car. You can buy, a proven race car, but then you have to learn how to do it, and all your drivers have to learn how to do it. So I almost feel like you need that progression, and just like, don't try to win, especially B.
Yeah.
Your first couple races. I feel like that's what we're talking about.
That's a good point, and we probably should have prefaced this whole thing so you can fix it in post. But this is like the,
we don't post.
I know.
Yep.
This is like the 300 level, college course on endurance racing or on lemons. There are a whole host of 100 and 200 level problems you're going to have to solve. Some people solve them really quick, but I would say an average from 0 to successful is at least 4 years. I would say, it's 10 races, I would say, is probably about where you finally something clicks. And if you've kept your whole team together at that point, you have people you trust. So
I think C is probably easiest to win.
Yeah.
Not because it's like not hard to not because it's you don't need to know what you're doing, or you don't need to do things. I think that it's really hard to build a B car, because if you build it too nice, you're going to be an A. But a lot of people can show up with some piece of crap and luck into a clean weekend where everything ran.
Yeah.
You cannot luck into a B win. I mean, how many of these are like top 10, right?
Most of them, yeah. About half.
The ones that aren't are still in the teens in a very large field.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think you make a good point though. Class C is all about just keeping your car on the track. That is keeping your car running is the challenge there. And in a class B or a class A car in lemons, that's challenge number like 7, and then once you've got that, then you have to refine it, and you have to figure out the finer points, the 300 level class stuff, how to fuel efficiently, practicing driver changes, having an idea of what your car is going to do at that particular track and how it fits into the entire schedule for the weekend.
Okay. It's I'm going to say it flat out. It is really, really hard to win B.
Yeah.
You need to be.
It's really hard to win any of the classes. Let's be honest.
Absolutely. I'm not going to say it's easy to win C, but blind squirrel can find a nut in C.
Well, I think
squirrel is not. I'm
not going to say blind squirrel. You can compete in C, but you can't win in C. I think what you're trying to say is with C, you're not as worried about speed. You can focus on reliability and team predictability and trust, and just keeping the car out there. No one has accidentally won a class.
I'm calling Yuri a blind squirrel.
And I think Eric just walked us through why exactly in this particular instance, he absolutely wasn't. He showed up with the proper roster. He knew what the car was going to do, and it wasn't as elegant as we've seen other teams, but he had very clear team directions, and everyone bought into that mission.
Luck is always part of it, though.
Yeah,
absolutely. You buy the lottery ticket by doing it perfectly, but luck has to be there.
Luck is always part of it, but luck alone will not get you.
No.
Yeah.
Luck is your ignition coil limping along, and you can just barely get your C win ahead of a Datsun. Or luck is also someone forgetting to put a hood pin in, and there you go,
ruining your choices. Yeah,
right.
One error will take you out of B.
Yeah,
you can win C and still have an error.
It depends where. Yeah. On the East Coast, you're probably right. B is very competitive. It just is. I mean, if you think about the classing in terms of a bell curve, that's kind of what we're aiming for, more or less. or even A and B and less than C. It kind of depends. But, there's going to be a lot of cars and a lot of people doing a lot of different things. And frankly, one of my favorite things that happens is, end of day Saturday, car that has been nowhere, that you've not noticed, that has been running, 19th for most of the day, but it's kind of running their own race in a way that is very intelligent, suddenly is, second and B to start the day, and putting pressure on somebody who was like, oh, we weren't even worried about that car. We weren't watching it. We don't know anything about it. And suddenly there's these people on our ass. So
I feel like that happens a lot on Saturday when you open Race Monitor and you're just like, oh,
what?
Which car is that?
Yeah.
What car is that?
Yeah. I mean, sometimes you have that with the top couple in A, and you get a random one that you don't really know, or they change their name, but that happens.
Yeah.
But that happens a lot in B and C. You're like, wow, they're doing pretty well. So that's a Saturday fun thing.
That was a Psychobilly Crap Can at Barber was like that. They were just like running 20th all of Saturday. People started breaking. They just kept being clean. They stayed out there. They'd made their last fuel stop 3 hours before the end of the day. So everybody else came in. That time kind of crossed over. Suddenly they're ninth, and it's just.
And I do want to kind of bring this to a close. And I absolutely agree with Eric. I do love seeing that, especially when you look over at that team and they kind of knew that they were doing it on the stealth.
Yeah.
As someone who occasionally works for Lemons, I absolutely hate that, because you have no media for that team that is now.
Yeah. I mean, there is occasionally that scramble, but that's a good scramble to have.
Yes.
It's like when Alexander Rossi won the Indy 500, leading only the final lap, and it was the TV. TV hadn't even followed him. Like they didn't know anything about his race. And then you go back and you look at the numbers and you're like, oh shit, he had this figured out like for hours, like he had been working on this thing. And if it went just right, he would pop out at the very end with the win. And sure enough, there it was. So that's the kind of stuff I love about racing. Stuff that comes out of nowhere, surprising. It's never an accident. It's done with purpose and it's done with intelligence. And I personally find that really gratifying for the teams that win it. So
let me reflect on something you said and maybe ask a following question that, maybe you'll answer, maybe you'll just tell us it's too close to the sauce and you're not going to answer. When you're classing, there's no guarantee you're classing against the rest of the field. But you said class B on the East Coast is maybe a little bit more competitive. Is there a sweet spot you're missing or you're not seeing, or you're like in the South, nobody runs blah, blah, blahs and they really could come in and get, maybe see some success? Is there regional differences on what, I mean, we know in the Midwest, everybody's got Juggalambos and, Pontiacs are out the yin yang, but
the Midwest, oh man, I need to dig up that photo and put it on Lemon's social media, but all of the Focus teams have kind of gotten together in the Midwest. That's like the Class B car, but they have shirts that say the first rule of Focus Club is you don't talk about Focus Club. And then the back says the second rule. Yeah, you get it. There's always, Chris mentions the sweet spot, in A, BMWs are the sweet spot between power and efficiency and drivability. There are an infinite number of sweet spots out there. And somebody's always going to be looking for the next one. Focus is a good one. Escort GT is another one, close to my heart. Dodge Neon. Honda Civics, without changing too much stuff. You can put a Civic in A with a B swap and a fuel cell, kind of puts you on the edge. But we can talk finer points about that kind of stuff another time. I know we're running long, like really long. So, but no, there's not a ton of regional specificity. So.
Got it. Yeah, the Focuses are doing well in the East. I mean, Hooptober or Chris Fix, whatever they're Pete Cheat, whatever they're calling themselves now.
Yeah.
It's a great theme.
And Matt Rotundo's Focus finished second in B at Thompson. It's a great car.
Yep.
Excellent.
Good dude too. Cool.
Yeah, awesome. What else do we have to say about Class B before we wrap this puppy up?
This is a great topic, Eric. It was great to actually put all these things together and think about it. So thanks for bringing it up. We appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for hosting me being a super nerd every once in a while.
Absolutely.
Anytime you want to. Anytime you want to come nerd out.
Wouldn't have it another way. Come on.
We're about to test your nerddom in a final section that we call Goat or Just One Goat. If I say just one goat, you know what I'm talking about?
The greatest of all time, right?
Great. Yeah. Exactly.
Or also the joke about, I built that bridge. You think they call me bridge builder? No,
just one goat.
One goat.
Recently at Thompson, Aaron, I think it was Aaron, was giving out the awards, and he said that Momrath was the first team ever to win 2 Thompson races. And I went, no, that's not true. I questioned your information. He said, I got it from Eric. And I went and I looked, and you're absolutely right. They were the only team I could tell that had won Thompson. But Amanda has won so much, I just assumed that she had won more. And we love the Momrath people. Is there a team out there that is like the GOAT of Lemons teams that has figured everything out? I mean,
current or past.
I threw 3 potentials in here. Okay. Eyesore, Momrath, Tatas. You know, like, is there a team that just shows up and really has it all figured out? They have a great car. They have everything. And obviously they're not your favorites because you love Class C and, you hate all these dominating people with their cheaty BMWs like us. But, who's got it figured out there?
Is this like crap, not crap, where I can only answer one thing?
No, you can answer as much as you want.
I think Cerveza has won more than anybody else.
Good call.
Yes.
They had a run where they won like 7 races at Thunderhill in a row, like just insane. And that was a team that had it all. They had it all figured out. They knew exactly what was going to happen a week before the race. They knew exactly what they were going to do. They knew if this happened, we would do this. Like if there's a full course yellow within 10 minutes of when we stop, to come in. Like they just knew that. Everybody knew what the plan was ahead of time. Haven't seen them in a while. I think life happened. But yeah, I would say they're probably in the running. If I was going to pick one team that really gets it, that knows how to get everything out of their car, it probably would be, and this might surprise you, it'd probably be Dirty Duck Racing out on the West Coast. They've got a little black Volkswagen GTI, like a 1980
Mark 1 GTI.
Mark 1. It's got a magic hat on the roof, and something's always coming. It's on a wiper motor, so something goes up and down.
Yeah. I know that team. Yeah.
Never fast.
I don't know the team.
Never fast. Absolutely never fast. Close to bottom half, or right in the middle, and like a top 5 car all the time. They finished second in B like 9 freaking times. I feel kind of bad about that. They have won once or twice, but they're 40 something races in with that thing. It just kind of works. They drive it. They know what's going to happen. They have a plan. And at the end of the day, they make a really wicked gin and tonic. And that kind of matters. Like they know what's going to happen on the track. They know what's going to happen off the track. They have a plan for everything. And I think that kind of thing maybe flies under the radar, but really great team. And
we're totally all thinking about A-class cars, winners, and we don't.
Eric's
not thinking about it.
He knows.
I know. No, I think it's great. No, that's why we asked you the question, because we weren't thinking about them.
They are painfully pleasant as well.
Yeah.
Just that they'll mentor, talk to anybody. Great,
Yeah.
great people.
100%. Honorable mentions to the extended family of Onset, Tetanus, and Hella Shitty out west. Just the best people. You won't find better people than them. Love those guys. Competitive, race wins. End of the day, they kind of just want to hang out and just soak in the atmosphere. I can appreciate that.
But none of them are the Penske of lemons, right? Right?
No, Cerveza is the Penske of lemons.
Oh, you said we were the Penske of lemons once.
Oh, did I? Oh,
yes.
well.
No, I think it was Nick. It was okay.
Oh, wasn't Nick?
Oh, well, I mean, all right. Sorry. Cerveza is the Penske of winning lemons races.
Oh, I got it.
You guys are the Penske of dominating lemons in all of the important facets. There we go.
Got it. Oh,
I was trying to look on the boat. Aren't we the crap?
Jesus.
Grandmasters non-parallel. Yes.
Parallel, yeah.
Non-parallel.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
That was on the Rolls Royce. That was.
Oh, okay. I thought it was on there. And I know for a different time.
Ancient history.
I know.
But it's still funny now.
It is still funny now.
All right, Eric, this is great. Thank you so much for being here.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, now let's see. What are the odds Jeff has the music queued up?
I do have the music queued up.
0.
I'm trying to see if it will play for
Uh-huh.
my speaker.
0.
Are we going to go with our topic for next week that we talked about potentially?
Sure.
The
Why
recent
not?
listener suggested concept of.
Why not?
Okay. What is that, Chris? What are we going to be talking about next week?
I don't remember. We talked on, if I have to pull up the Slack and look at it. What was it called?
Team communication.
Right? Oh, shoot. We're good at this.
We're not good at this.
We'll put it on social media. Look on social
So
media.
it is the mystery things that go wrong with your car during the race and how we figured them out. So if you had a particularly challenging weekend, you couldn't figure out something that went wrong with your car, tell us that story. We're going to be relaying our stories of how we tracked just this one problem that refused, the gremlins that run around the lemons paddock. And ideally we'll all
There's gremlins in the lemons paddock. Which paddock are you in?
There was one last weekend.
That's our next theme, gremlins. Oh boy.
Okay.
Tell us your stories. Send us all your stories, all your social media.
Come on.
Yes.
Go, Jeff.
Thank you for downloading us. We hope you enjoyed this week's edition of Everyone Racers. We also hope you'll join us in the world of driving, racing, and building because everyone can be a racer, even you. If you enjoyed this podcast, subscribe and then email Eric and tell him how much you loved him on this show. If you have any questions or show ideas or you want to tell us about the mystery problem you found, email us at everyone.racers@gmail.com. You could still text Mental 484-243-0455. He loves pictures of your junk. Find us on Instagram or Twitter at everyone.racers, YouTube and Facebook, Everyone Racers, Reddit /E1R. He's showing us pictures of his junk again. Thanks again, and until next week, keep the focus sharp unless you drive something else, and then just keep those wheels down.